Hello, everyone. I'm JT Wistersill.
I'm Jack Wistersill.
I'm Tom Wistersill.
And we're excited to welcome you to another edition of
From the Couch!
The NBA rolls on, and yes, Summer League is in full swing, but we're going to look back on free agency. The dust has pretty much settled, so you can kind of start to form your winners and losers of free agency. Most times we'd probably do that, but instead we decided we'd just talk about the 5 teams that, in my opinion, made the biggest moves. And of course, since we are all Lakers fans, what better place to start than in Los Angeles? The Lakers made the biggest splash of the offseason when they traded for Russell Westbrook, but the 3 contracts of LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook are so much money they had to turn to veteran minimums, and that's exactly what they did. Except for Taylor Horton-Tucker. Did re-sign Taylor Horton-Tucker, so nice move. But the other guys they grabbed: Kendrick Nunn, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, Dwight Howard, Kent Bazemore, and Malik Monk. So lots of moves, lots of guys added. Dad, what do you think of all the moves?
I'm really going to miss Alex Caruso as a Laker. That's the first thing I want to say. I'm going to miss him. He was fun to watch. Kuzma had his ups and downs, but I'm really excited about this roster. I'm really excited about Russell Westbrook. I think his energy is really what the Lakers need. That's going to be fun to watch. I am not excited about Carmelo Anthony, but I understand the boys all want to get together and play hoops together. That's fine. The one person that fires me up on that they really picked up is Malik Monk. I think he's really going to be a difference maker come playoff time. So really excited for the Lakers. Can't wait to see all the pieces put together. But the bottom line is we need the guys to stay healthy. The big 3 have to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Jack?
For me, the biggest move was getting Kendrick Nunn for what was the contract again?
Kendrick Nunn, it's very close to veteran minimum. It's actually 5. It says 5.
Veteran minimum for a guy that scored 30 plus a couple times last year,
times,
I believe. So this is a great scorer that we need on our team. LeBron, AD, Westbrook, they can score a lot, but like I said, healthy, injuries, all stuff. Malik Monk's very unproven. Kendrick Nunn's proven. He's done it for the Heat. I feel like he didn't get enough of an opportunity. I feel the Lakers present him this opportunity where he's going to have a big season, and then he'll be gone after this year for sure. But I'm really excited for that. I agree with the Carmelo Anthony thing. It's going to be a little interesting to see how the Lakers do with that. But Russell Westbrook, LeBron, Anthony Davis, watch out, NBA.
It'll be fun. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so in terms of all the veteran guys to fill in, you guys hit on the 2 guys, like scoring Kendrick Nunn and Malik Monk for such veteran minimum deals. Those are young guys. You think they'd want to cash out now, but I think it was very mature of them to look at it like, I'm going to try to win a ring here early. So I really like that. Love all the combination of veterans they picked up. I actually like the Melo thing because hopefully if there's one place where Melo will listen to being benched at times, like if he's just not playing well, don't play him. Hopefully it's in Los Angeles. If not, we'll see how that'll unfold. The biggest thing for me, though, is I'm just interested to see how Russell Westbrook, LeBron, and Anthony Davis all fit together. Neither of those guys are great three-point shooters, and spacing is so key in today's NBA. You also factor in Russ and LeBron are so ball-dominant. I'm just interested to see how they play off-ball a little bit more like that. I also think Marc Gasol at his age becomes very important for this roster because of his ability to space the floor, and that's a guy who does scare me a little bit with the injury. So are you good with the Russell Westbrook fit, though?
I'm good with the experiment.
Yeah.
I don't know if the fit's going to work, but it'll be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel the same way, Jack?
I have to agree with Dad on that one.
The Lakers will be a fun show, as always, to watch. And you mentioned Alex Caruso. Let's jump over to his new team, the Chicago Bulls, where, Caruso, he's a quality backup player, brings tough defense. For a lot of teams, he'd probably be one of their bigger free agent signings. For the Bulls, he's their 3rd because they bring in DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. And on top of already having Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams looks nice in the Summer League, and trading for Nikola Vucevic. So this becomes a very interesting and exciting roster to me now. Jack, what are your thoughts on what the Bulls did?
I really like the Bulls, and I think they're a big sleeper in the East because they have a lot of guys that go under the spotlight. Vucevic, who's been one of the best scoring centers in the NBA for a couple years now, never gets spotlight. DeMar DeRozan. The Spurs are always good because of Popovich, but the players play, the coaches don't. So DeMar DeRozan has carried them to almost making the playoffs a lot of years. So DeRozan, Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, who have started to play really good in New Orleans. So that's 3 great players. And like you said, Caruso, super athletic, great bench player. Kobe White, too, coming off the bench. They have a lot of great pieces, I think the Bulls do. And not to forget about the Olympic gold medalist, Zach LaVine. Mm-hmm. He just keeps getting better. He's going to be an all-star this year. I expect the Bulls to be a top 4 seed in the East.
I like it. Are you as high on the Bulls?
Not quite as high on the Bulls as that. I'm excited about what they've done. There's more pressure on some of these guys now. Okay, so now Lonzo Ball, can you lead a team, into the playoffs and win? And when Alex Caruso, can you Can you play meaningful minutes and be a guy that they can go to, or do you have to sit on the bench? And that I like the Zach LaVine thing that Jack mentioned. Do I think they're a top 4 seed? I'd say probably not, but I do like DeMar DeRozan. I like what he brings to the team. So if anybody can do it, he might be able to help him get there, along with other players that Jack mentioned there. But I think that's a big stretch for him.
What is an interesting thought is Caruso will actually be less of a player, less of a role, I think, on the Bulls than he will with the Lakers. Because at the end of the game, Lonzo, LaVine, and DeRozan will be playing. So that'll also be interesting. DeRozan at the 3-all game. DeRozan, LeBron, taking LeBron. So DeRozan has to match with a lot bigger guys. So it'll be interesting to see how all the roles work together too.
Yeah.
That is, to me, the most interesting thing. So I don't feel like they'll be a top 4 seed, more so because it takes time to make it fit together. You have a lot of guys in LaVine. When you throw in Kobe White to this, it just makes it even more interesting because he's another ball-dominant guy. So you have guys in Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and DeMar, who I feel like would like to have the ball in their hands, but can play off ball as well. That's what Lonzo started to do a really good job of in New Orleans. Also another guy in Vucevic, who I feel like it's just a waste of his talents to have him standing on the 3-point line for spacing. Can he do it? Yeah, but like I said, one of the best low post scorers there. So I'm interested to see the fit. They're also going to rely heavily on a guy defensively in Patrick Williams, I mentioned, who I'm older than. So even though he's played really well, I am interested to see how he gels. The Bulls are fun. Really good players do tend to figure it out. LaVine, the longest winning streak Zach LaVine has had since he's been in the NBA was with the men's Olympic team when they won four or five games, I'm trying to remember now, in a row like that. So I'm happy for him and interested to see how the pieces come together. They're going to be a fun show to watch in Chicago. And it's been a while since you've had a really good team in Chicago these past few years. They've been trying to get back to being relevant.
I agree. That'll be fun. Let's go.
Yes. Next up, we have the Miami Heat. So they made one huge move and then 2 other quality moves. So the big one, trading for Kyle Lowry, sending Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa over to Toronto, and they get the longtime Raptor to come over, and 2 really quality signings. First, PJ Tucker, the godfather of the 3-and-D position, basically, even though he's the corner 3 master. And then Markieff Morris, a guy who gave the Lakers valuable minutes, I thought still. Some guys wouldn't play and might not play a ton for this team, so be interested to see. Also, it's technically a re-sign, but a guy in Victor Oladipo. This is the first time that I feel like they're really going to get him back because I believe he only played 2 games for this team. So he's a guy who, coming off surgery, can he contribute? I feel like he's going to be able to. To me, Oladipo is actually the biggest X factor of the NBA season because if he can even get back to somewhat of what that form was, he's going to be a really interesting piece. But Dad, what did you think about the Heat's moves?
I love Kyle Lowry. I think he's a great player. I think it's a huge pickup for the Heat. What I love about the Heat is they're always making moves and being aggressive, and they did it again. I think they're a player in the East. I think are they Brooklyn, Milwaukee? Maybe not. But I think that they are going to be right there in the end. I think they're for sure a top 4 seed next year. And it's maybe just because I like Kyle Lowry so much. So there's my thought on the Heat.
I think this team is going to be a really big team for AHC. It's going to be bad during the season, my prediction is. I don't think the piece, we got a lot of junkyard dogs, but the NBA is about talent. And I don't know how many guys they have that can really get a bucket. Victor Oladipo's playing, can really change the team. But how many games did this team win the playoffs last year against Milwaukee? 0. And in the end, they added some good players in their place, but Kyle Lowry got a lot too much credit in their finals win with the Raptors. He made some big plays, but Jimmy Butler's no Kawhi Leonard. Now, Bam Adebayo, great player. I'm excited to watch him, but I don't think this team is as good as they look.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so obviously I'm a huge Jimmy Butler fan, so I like his leadership. So I do think this team will end up top 4 in the East because of that. Lowry, the leadership he brings. I do think they overpaid a little bit for Lowry. I do think he's starting to decline a little bit, but you want to overplay to get really good players, so I understand that. He is still an upgrade over the aging Dragic as well. I'm always going to like the PJ Tucker thing. I think the fact that they did re-sign Duncan Robinson as well is nice for a little bit more. That's
a little bit of money.
Yeah, Duncan. He actually 5 years, $90 million is a lot, but he is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, of course. So I like Miami. I think it's going to work. I think they're a team, like you just mentioned, Brooklyn and Milwaukee are too tough. So I think they're an East semifinals contender to me, and I am interested to see how it shapes up. And watching Lowry and Bam operate in the pick and roll, I think, could be a lot of fun too. And Lowry and Jimmy are buddies that kind of formed on that 2016 Olympic team, so it'll be exciting to watch them play together. And Lowry is a perfect culture fit, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team go to work.
I agree.
During the NBA season.
I agree. That's great.
Next up, this is one of the more interesting ones in the New York Knicks because they had a ton of money, and for so long it's always been like a bunch of one-year deals because we're going to save it for the next offseason when all the big free agents come together because New York is supposed to be this massive free agent destination. We know that is not the case, and they haven't been able to bring guys over. So they decided to trade for Kemba Walker. Celtics shipped him off to OKC. They bring him over there. Also spend a ton of money on Evan Fournier, who played very well in the Olympics. And then they bring back guys like Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, and Alec Burks as well. So a very interesting collection of talent the Knicks are bringing in here. Jack, what do you think of how these pieces?
This team is going to bust bad, I think. Let's just be honest here. There's a lot of pieces coming. Evan Fournier, not a winner. He's a good player, not a winner. Kemba Walker, one of my favorite players, not a winner. Julius Randle, not a winner. RJ Barrett, I don't think he's that much of a winner either. Derrick Rose is a winner. But I see a lot of guys are going to get theirs. They really want to get theirs. Got their money, going to go score. But when it comes to playoff time and you have to play together against, we're going to have to match up against the Heat or the Bucks or the Nets. I can't see them winning a game in any of those years. So I think that this team is New York Knicks hopeful again. Maybe a 6, 7 seed. Like win the playoffs again. It's going to be super fun. And they're going to realize who they have to play. And they can't compete with those teams. In the end, New York's just not the same market it used to be.
Love Kemba Walker. Not a Fournier fan, kind of like Jack's talking about. But I pretty much have to agree. I think they're a 6, 7 seed, make the playoffs. Probably thought they're better than they really are. And I think Julius Randle is going to continue to improve. But I also think he's a guy that needs the ball a lot. And that's not good for this roster. I don't see Julius Randle leading a team to the finals ever in his career. So I'm not sold on the Knicks. What do you think?
First of all, I promise we do not hold a grudge from Evan Fournier because he was really good in the Olympics against the U.S. We are just being realistic for what he is, and that is a very inconsistent NBA player, right? I mean, I think this is going to be the worst deal in free agency come 4 years. $78 million over 4 years. I just think that's a lot of money for Evan Fournier. As you said, a guy who's never been a winner, and his playoff stats are rough. It's always been rough. He doesn't seem to shoot as well in the playoffs, just the way we know playoff basketball is different, and he's a guy who hasn't been able to rise to that occasion. That's concerning. I love Kemba, but he can't stay healthy. That's the big thing with him, right? You factor him. You got him and Derrick Rose now in the same backcourt. I think that makes it very concerning. Rose will come off the bench still, but it's a lot of money. And even when they do, so are you going to roll out there with, if Alec Burks and Derrick Rose are having good nights, you're going to close games with Kemba, Derrick Rose, and Alec Burks? Holy ball stopper central right there. I don't know how that's going to happen. You factor in Julius Randle as well. How many times in the playoffs did he just catch it and kind of wait and try to do his thing and settle for a mid-range jumper? So I have to agree with you guys as well. I think this is a team where so many teams got a lot better. They got a little bit better based on talent. They totally overperformed from last season, I think, so they couldn't come back with the same team. Hoping guys like Emmanuel Quigley and Obi Toppin can continue over the success they've had in the Summer League, but I'm very skeptical as well. And I mean, they won one playoff game this year. I think if they win 2 playoff games, I'd be stunned if they're in the semifinals. It's just an older, aging roster that's really banking on the development of a younger guy like RJ Barrett and the health of Kemba Walker. Very concerning, to say the least. Now, another team that made a lot of exciting moves, our 5th and final team, the Boston Celtics. The Celtics kind of flew under the radar compared to some of these other teams a little bit to me, but I do think they made some moves that are worth noting. First of all, bring back Al Horford. Time Lord is a lot of fun. Robert Williams, their center, but he's often hurt and still very young, unproven. Also, Dennis Schroeder, a lot was made out of his decision not to take the deal the Lakers end up going with. He comes over as well. And I still believe in Josh Richardson. Richardson is a guy who was not very good in Philly. What's wrong with Josh Richardson?
I'm just saying, the moves I'm hearing right now, this team sounds like they didn't get any better.
They were the most, I'll defend the Celtics. I'm going to go first on the Celtics here. They were one of the more disappointing teams from last season. You get the 6th seed when you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Kemba was hurt. Marcus Smart, they were hit by COVID hard, right? They rely on a ton of young guys. I think those young guys are going to improve and get a little bit better. Guys like Peyton Pritchard have been balling out, not just in the Summer League, but the Pro-Am, what was it, 92?
Yeah, playing against overseas players.
Playing against overseas players, 92 points. Anyways, though. But you get those guys in there as well. And I think the reason, too, with Dennis Schroeder is still a really quality. I think he's going to come off the bench. Man, look, maybe he'll start next to Smart. I guess it's a wait-and-see kind of thing. But he's still a solid player, and I think he'll work well in this ball movement flowing system. He's hungry to prove it as well. Could be dangerous because he takes some bad shots. And guys like Josh Richardson, to me, his best season was in Miami when he had the ball more in his hands. Struggled last season playing with a ball-dominant guy like Luka. Some players shoot better, I think, when they touch the ball more frequently than just stand in the corner and once every 3 trips maybe they get the ball like that. So I think that's why I like a Richardson a little bit more. And as Cantor provides a little bench punch scoring like that. And I like the leadership that Al Horford brings. Am I crazy for liking the Celtics, Jack?
Yes. There's one reason. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are one of the top duos in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Scoring-wise, if they can stay healthy, great duo. The team around is just bad. Al Horford sat out some games because he was old last year.
No, he didn't sit out. They made him sit.
So he's not healthy enough to play. So pretty much he's not, Al Horford, not there anymore. Marcus Smart, great defender, but we've seen the shots he takes.
Yes.
He pulls Steph Curry threes and shoots it like you, JT. There's some problems there. Then we got Josh Richardson. I mean, everyone expected him to be the Mavericks, and all I remember him was playing defense. He didn't do much scoring. So I'm seeing a lot of disappointment. I like Peyton Pritchard a lot. I like Robin Williams. They have some young
Romeo
good
Langford
pieces.
looked nice.
He had one good dunk. I'll give him that. They had some good young players, but in the end, like I said again, I mean, for these big team markets, we want to see them go far. How can they compete with like a Brooklyn or Milwaukee? You're just hard to see. And I mean, especially for a market like the Celtics. Every single year, they want to see them win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't like the Celtics very much either.
I know you don't like the Celtics as a franchise. Do you like some of these moves?
So I mean, I just want to give big time ups to Brad Stevens. He made a great decision. That GM job was open. I'm not coaching this team. I'm going to go be the GM, president of basketball ops. Good job, Brad. You're a smart man. Very smart man. Yeah, this team's going nowhere, and I feel bad for Jason Tatum because I think he's absolutely an emerging star in the league. Yeah. I think he's a top 10 player heading to a top 5-6 player in a couple of years. I really believe that. I think he's that good. But he won't be that because of this roster. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to be looked at it that way when you're barely making the playoffs. I think they're a 7-8 bubble seed here. Really? What they have. Now, Dennis Schroeder, now who knows what happens there, right? I mean, how do you recover from that, right? I mean, he had a $90 million offer or something like that for the Lakers, a 4-year deal. He's like, no, I'm not going to take it now, but because wait till I do something at the end of the year. Well, then he didn't do much at the end of the year, and he got no contract. So here he is. So I don't know, not a fan of this team. I think they're wasting this incredible talent in Jason Tatum, and like I said, I think they're a 7, 8, 9 seed in the East.
Interesting to say that, but Jason Tatum isn't even the best player on the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was leading this Celtics team until he was injured. And everyone forgot. And then Jason Tatum balled out in the playoffs. But Jason Tatum is not as good as Jaylen Brown. So I'm going to respect my boy Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
I think Jason's the best player on the Celtics. Rises up in the playoff moments. We saw him. I forgot what he went for against Brooklyn, but it was at least over 40. It was an incredible performance. I think when the money's on the table, his offensive game, he just takes it to another level. So that's where I'm going to defend Jason Tatum. But I also do want to turn it back to you. So you said you think currently right now he's one of the 10 best players in the NBA?
You know, I mean, without looking at a list, I can't say who I would pick 7th and 8th, 9th, 10th, but I think he's in that discussion. And because he's just emerging. He is, if you look at his last 3 years, right? Look where he's come. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, trajectory way up there. And I think he's dynamite. You know, as disappointed as I am in my Ben Simmons prediction.
Oh, yeah.
The opposite is I didn't think Jason Tatum would be near this good. Near this good. And he is dynamite.
Did you see he's been shooting threes this
Ben
offseason?
Simmons, we're not falling for that again, but Ben Simmons one day will be a good player in the NBA, I believe.
Yeah, and well, they give you 3 points for layups, then yes.
Yeah. Well, if there's one thing to remember from this video, it's that guys with the name JT are just destined on a trajectory for greatness.
Oh boy. Time for this thing to end.
Yep. We thank you guys for joining us as always. We'll be back very soon with some NFL talk. NFL season right around the corner. Don't really feel like talking about preseason after how my Vikings did, so we'll see. But we'll look forward to the actual NFL season.
Right here, Steelers.
On our next edition of
From the Couch!
We'll see you next time.